real treat for me. Before I say anything, I wonder if you can help congratulate Noah as a representative of some of the great teaching that's going on in our schools today, in our public schools. Can you give him I'm a fan of teachers at Sealth International High School. The reason is my dad used to be one. My dad, Frank, was the first basketball coach and biology teacher at Sealth International High School. There's been great teaching ever since 1957 here. So this is really, really exciting. And I look forward to seeing all the great victories of the Sealth High School basketball games. This is a real treat for me. The last time I was in this auditorium, I was watching a production of Camelot in probably about 1959. I was 8 years of age. And there was this kid up here playing Lancelot, but he had a broken leg from a football game. And if you've ever seen Lancelot fight a sword fight with one leg, it's kind of funny. So I know this is a much more intellectually stimulating event here. It is a joy to see students and teachers leading on such a critical issue for the world, certainly for America and for the world. And it's a critical issue both for fresh and salt water. And I don't know if you're focusing most probably on fresh water tonight, but I kind of think of salt water is sort of important too. I'll mention two things that I've been engaged in on water that I hope you'll be interested in tonight. One is the fact of the fresh water is it's time to stop wasting it. It's time to start using it in sensible, reasonable, responsible fashion. And we've been treating fresh water like it is an infinite resource for decades in our country. Like there is no limit to the amount of fresh water. And that's how we've treated it. It's how we've flushed it. It's how we've put it on our fields. We've acted like there was some infinite supply that we could import from, Mercury or Mars or Venus. And when we ran out, we could just bring in some extra stuff. And basically it's a finite resource, and we're starting to understand that. I'll just give you one example of what the kind of things we have to start doing. I used to represent Central Washington in the U.S. Congress, Yakima, Okanagan, and Tri-Cities. And we started to have real problems because there wasn't enough water in the Yakima River system to take care of both the farmers' fields and salmon. And we started developing big confrontations between whether we're going to keep water in the river for salmon or whether we're going to have it available on farmers' fields. Well, we realized you can't make any additional water. It's a finite resource. So we came up with a bill called the Yakima River Enhancement Bill, which would create incentives and mechanisms where we could stop wasting water, where we had leaky pipes and leaky irrigation canals and water going on fields that would just run off and not help irrigation. And we designed a way where we could create an incentive for people to prevent water from leaking so we could have water both for fish and for farmers. And that's the kind of thing that our nation has to start seizing on. And that's why I am hoping some of the students here tonight will think about having careers in the careers that are available on how we use water. As mechanical and civil engineers, as agronomists, as biologists, as people in public policy to learn how to mediate conflicts about water. There are careers available out there around water, and I hope people from Sealth will think about that. But second, I want to mention salt water. And I don't know how much you're going to talk about salt water tonight, but salt water is in great, great jeopardy in the world today. And it's in jeopardy because, well, of many reasons: pollution, nitrogen, eutrophication. But it has a problem called ocean acidification. I hope you'll learn a little bit about. Ocean acidification is the phenomenon that when we put carbon pollution, when we burn coal and oil and gasoline, we put carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And then your teachers will tell you that goes into solution in the water. When it goes into solution, it creates acid. And our salt water across the oceans today are 30% more acidic. They have 30% more acidic ions in our oceans all around the world than they did before we started to burn coal and gasoline. And it will be twice as acidic during my 2-year-old grandson. By the time he's 100 years of age, the oceans will be twice as acidic as they are in pre-industrial times. Now, why is that an issue? It's an issue because everything that lives in the ocean has evolved to live in an ocean at a certain acidity level, a certain pH number, and that is changing dramatically. So I'll give you an example why that's a problem. I had the oyster growers, the shellfish growers in my office in DC 2 weeks ago, and they told me that they're having trouble raising baby oysters now. The little larvae can't accrete calcium fast enough in acidic waters to make the shells on which their lives are dependent. Now, anybody who goes to Sealth International High School, I think ought to care about that. Because seahawks, osprey, depend on what lives in the water. So if the seahawks are going to be healthy, we got to figure out a way not to make our oceans acidic. And the way we do that is we learned how we're going to drive cars on electricity, and we're going to create electricity and wind and solar energy and some other clean fuels. And here's another great career opportunity for Sealth High School students to participate in this clean energy revolution, to find out how to power our cars and run our lights and our heating system on clean energy systems so we don't destroy the oceans and seahawks can remain healthy, eating little critters in the ocean. How's that for a plan? Now, to help that plan, I wanted to present a gift to your library. Do we have my little gift here? So I got a little gift here. I wanted to present to Sealth High School Library a little book. It's called Apollo's Fire, Igniting America's Clean Energy Economy. And this book has got some pretty decent ideas in it about how to power our economy, grow jobs, reduce our dependence on Saudi Arabian oil, and stop acidifying the oceans. Now, the reason I know it's got some decent ideas is because I co-authored it. So I'm going to present this to the Sealth Library, and I want to congratulate all of the Sealth Seahawks for leadership on this. I'm going to go back to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to tell them there's some really smart people at a high school in Seattle, Washington. They're going to try to make sure that we fix our economy and our environment. That's right here in Sealth. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time, I hope. Good work.